Hey creators, today I'm going to share with you the secret to my financial success and to anyone's financial success in my opinion. I'm always embarrassed filming these videos where I'm not clean shaven. Sometimes I have nose hair sticking out. Sometimes I have food on my mouth and I watch them later and I'm like, I can't believe I filmed that. But I do it because I get these thoughts and I was like, I have to share that, especially today's probably the most important thing. If all you care about is money, today's probably the most important thing I've ever shared on this channel. And I just realized today I've never shared it. I realized it because I just got back running with my daughter. We went for a 4-mile run, which for someone as big as me is really hard. So I'm sweaty and I'm panting. But as we went out, I had been listening to a podcast earlier today, and I think I watched a TikTok video actually, and he was talking about the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And if you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad, it talks about the difference between assets and liabilities. And I realized while I've talked about that concept on this channel, I wasn't sure if I had really hit home the secret to financial success. And so as I was running with my daughter today, I asked her, I said, what do you think is the secret to success? And she said, multiple streams of income, living within your means, having passive income, and all those things are important. And I said, if I had to sum it up in one thing, and I do think it's more nuanced and complicated, there's a lot of things that go together, but if I had to wrap it into one thing, and I said, this is what's important to do if you want to be financially independent, and that is to accumulate income producing assets. And so I mentioned that to my daughter and I said, what's an income producing asset? And her first thought was, well, if you have a car and you pay a monthly payment on your car, that's an asset, but it depreciates over time. And I was like, cool, she's learned that. And she's like, but if you buy a classic car, a collectible, and you fix it up, and you sell it for more, then you made income. And that's what my son did. My son bought a 67 Ford Mustang and he paid $2,000 for it. He sold it for $7,000 or $8,000 and it made him income. But it's not an income producing asset because you don't make any money until you sell it, right? And so I said, well, what are the assets that you pay for once and then it pays you over and over and over? And I was thrilled. The first thing she mentioned was rental real estate. And we have rental real estate. And the reason I love rental real estate is because you pay for it once, you structure a payment plan with a bank. And if you do it right, you really don't have to pay hardly anything because you just put your down payment down, or we even took out a second mortgage to pay the down payment and then had the renters pay rent that would cover both the first mortgage and the second mortgage. The cool thing is then we paid off that second mortgage as quickly as possible. And now that we've paid that down, so we have invested probably $50,000 into that rental over the last few years. But now every month we get paid, right? So for the rest of time, the bank has locked in how much they're going to charge us, but rents go up. And so we can raise our rent every year if we want to. And as long as the market dictates that people will pay that, then rather than make it like right now, we make about $250 a month in passive income. So we don't do anything. We just collect checks. We don't have to we have great renters. And so we manage it ourselves, but there's nothing that we do. Occasionally we'll replace an appliance. And that's really cool to make an extra $250 a month. Now we're not investing in other real estate right now because the market's high, but we're trying to pay down that mortgage as quickly as possible because once it's paid off, then that $250 a month will jump up to $1,500, $1,600 a month. And we'll get that for the rest of time. Plus, while we're getting that monthly check, we're also have an appreciating value on the asset, right? So if we sold that, we could sell it for more than we paid for it, and then we could reinvest that into something else. And so I love rental real estate for that reason. But I asked her, what are other income producing assets? And then she mentioned, well, having a book. And I love that she's an author. She's written a book. She published her first book when she was 10, and she made some money. And in fact, she continues to make not very much money, but she'll sell like 1 or 2 copies a year. year. And so she'll make an extra $5 a year, which is, 50 cents a month. It's not a lot of money, but she created an asset and gets royalties off that asset. So that's something I think most authors are in a similar position where you have to become a salesperson to make money off that book. So it's not totally passive unless you write a book that sells itself. And that certainly is possible. So that was a good income producing asset, just not a very high rate on return. So then I kept pushing on her, and she came up with the stock market, which I love. And now in the stock market, there's two kinds of assets. One is not an income producing asset. It's another asset, just like a classic car, that appreciates in value. And then when you sell it, hopefully it's worth more than what you paid for it. And I think most of the stock market is that way. But you can also buy dividend paying stocks that regularly give you a dividend. And so that's another thing where, let's say you put $1,000 into the stock market, but you have a dividend paying stock that will pay you $5 a month. Well, that $5 a month is not guaranteed, but there's a high likelihood that you'll get that for the rest of the time, depending on what you've invested in. So if you invest in, I recommend index funds, and if you do dividend paying index funds, then you have a pretty consistent income coming in for forever. And the more you put into that fund, the more the return comes. And so we talked about a few other income producing assets, but I loved having this conversation with her because you kind of see those worlds turning. And with things like, this channel, a lot of you come here for the Amazon Influencer Program. Well, the reason I love the Amazon Influencer Program is because I make extra money because I still have a day job as a school teacher. But with that extra money, I pay God first. So I tithe my money. Then I pay the community next. We donate money to different organizations and causes in the community. Then I pay the government after that. So we set aside money for taxes, and for our paychecks, that's taken out automatically. Then we pay ourselves. So we invest in, and we kind of rotate what we pay through, but we have automatic withdrawals that go into our 401ks or our Roth IRAs. We have money that goes into precious metals. We have money that goes into real estate. And that's on top of paying our mortgage payments and things like that. And then we have other things that we invest in. So we do that each month. And then with what's left from the Amazon Influencer Program, that's how we travel the world. And we've done so many incredible things, but we do it after we pay all the other people and ourselves. And then we improve our quality of life. And so I just wanted to have this quick conversation with you because I realized if my kids aren't clear on these things, you're probably not clear on these things either. Amazon Influencer and Product Reviews has changed my life, but not because I've increased my income. It's because I've increased my savings. And so we have more financial security and independence than we've ever had before. And the more money I make, the more money I invest, which sets up an even better future for me and my family. So hopefully there was some value there, even if I'm sweaty and chalk mouth. I apologize for that, but I'm doing the best I can. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, do that. The videos in the new year are going to be really great on the Amazon Influencer Program. I've loved over these last few weeks, I've interviewed a bunch of people about Amazon Influencer, and these are like the OGs of the Amazon Influencer Program. And so I can't wait to share with you all that I've learned from them, and we'll share those interviews. So it'll be great, but please give a like and a subscribe. That helps me grow the channel so that I can keep making these videos for you. All right, see ya.